You know, there are some stories that you read as a kid, and they're just stories. But then you come back to them as an adult and, wow, they hit different. The Little Prince is absolutely one of those. So today we're going to dive into the beautiful philosophy tucked away in this little book. And we're not just going to recap the plot. No, this is a journey to unpack the huge life lessons that Antoine de Saint-Exupéry left for us. Lessons about what really matters. So let's start with a really interesting question. Who was this book actually written for? See, right from the very first page, there's this hint that maybe, just maybe, kids aren't the main audience here. In fact, you get the feeling Saint-Exupéry was really writing for us, for the grown-ups, and more specifically, for the kid that's still buried somewhere inside of us. The book is dedicated to his best friend, Leon Worth, but check out that crucial little detail. He dedicates it to his friend when he was a little boy. Now, that's not just him being nostalgic. He's setting the stage for the entire book. He's literally reaching back in time to a whole different way of seeing the world. And there it is. The book is basically a bridge, an invitation to travel back to that lost perspective. It's asking us to remember what it was like to be that imaginative, curious, and open-minded kid we all once were. And this whole idea kicks off right away. Early in the story, the narrator shows us a simple drawing he made as a child. But it's so much more than that. It's actually a test, a kind of secret password to see who gets it and who doesn't. It divides the world in two. So here it is. This is what the narrator would show to the grown-ups he met. He was trying to find out if they could really see, if they could look beyond the literal lines on the page. It feels like such a simple question, right? But the answer, well, it reveals everything. And the grown-ups, with their busy, serious lives, they all had the exact same predictable answer. A hat. That's all they saw. Just a hat. There was no curiosity, no wonder, no flicker of imagination. They see an object, not a story. And with that one little word, an entire world of possibility just slams shut. But of course, we know it wasn't a hat. It was a boa constrictor digesting an elephant. The narrator even had to draw this second picture, the one with the inside view, just so the grown-ups could understand. It's like they always needed things spelled out for them, things that you're supposed to see with your imagination. You can just feel the exhaustion in these words, can't you? That childhood frustration, this constant feeling of not being understood, this deep loneliness, it's what made him give up on his art and just try to fit into the world of grown-ups. So, to survive in this adult world, the narrator, he learned to adapt. He packed away his drawings, and with them, his true self. And he learned to speak their language, the language of so-called serious matters. Right. These are the things adults decided were important. What made you a reasonable person? They're all about facts and figures, kind of like that lonely king the prince meets later who just needs a subject, or the businessman who's obsessed with just owning the stars. The narrator learned to talk the talk, but he had to hide his own reality, the one with stars and boa constrictors. And then, out of nowhere, stranded in the desert, this amazing little person shows up. He's traveled all the way from his tiny planet because he was heartbroken and confused about his relationship with a special rose. He doesn't care one bit about politics or neckties. He just arrives and completely shatters the narrator's reasonable adult world. The very first thing the little prince asks for, please, draw me a sheep. It turns into another huge test of how you see the world. But this time, the roles are completely flipped. Now it's the narrator who's being tested, being pushed to see beyond what's right in front of him. And this is the moment where everything connects. The narrator, probably just out of habit, shows the little prince his old drawing number 1, the test that every single adult had failed. And the prince gets it. Instantly. He sees the elephant inside the snake. He understands. And for the first time since he was 6, our narrator is truly, finally seen by someone else. So, okay, the narrator tries to draw the sheep. He sketches out what he thinks a sheep should look like. But one by one, his drawings get rejected. And it's not because he's a bad artist. No, the little prince is looking for something much, much more than just a picture. I mean, listen to these reasons. They're not about the quality of the drawing. They're about the essence, the spirit of the sheep. The prince cares about its health, its identity, its life. He's already thinking about what it means to care for another being, something he actually struggled with back on his planet with his rose. At this point, the narrator is losing his patience. He's in a hurry to fix his airplane engine. He's tired. So he gives up trying to draw the perfect sheep. He just scribbles this, a simple box with a few holes in it.
He says this almost like he's brushing him off. He thinks he's just dodged the request by giving the prince a container, not the actual thing. But in doing that, he accidentally gives him the most perfect answer possible.
And there it is. The little prince's face just lights up. He's thrilled. But why? Well, because a box leaves everything to the imagination. The sheep inside that box is whatever you want it to be. It's not too old, it's not too sick, it's the perfect sheep, because it's the one you imagine. That moment, the moment with the box, that is the glimmer of light the narrator talks about. It's the key that unlocks the entire philosophy of the story. It's a kind of wisdom that comes from another world, or maybe a part of our own world we've just forgotten how to access.
And this brings us right to the heart of it all, the core lesson of the entire book. The perfect sheep couldn't be drawn because, just as the fox later tells the prince, what is essential is invisible to the eye. Friendship, love, responsibility, you can't draw those things. The sheep in the box becomes a symbol for all of it. It's about creating ties, becoming responsible for another, and seeing with your heart.
I mean, think about where the prince comes from. His planet is so tiny, an adult obsessed with numbers would just dismiss it. But on that tiny planet, what matters is what he cares for, especially his Rose. She was complicated and vain, and that's why he left. But he learns that her thorns were just her way of protecting herself, and that real love means accepting someone, flaws and all. He realizes it is the time you have wasted for your Rose that makes your Rose so important. And so, the book kind of turns the mirror back on us. It leaves us with this huge question. In our own busy worlds, full of serious matters, what are the essential things that we've stopped seeing? What invisible sheep, what cherished Rose is waiting for us if only we'd remember how to look with our hearts?